Welcome back to Casual Bias Rugby. Jimmy, welcome back as always. But we've got a big face, a familiar face that we haven't seen in about 2 months because the guy's been writing exams and all those type of stuff. Tiernan, how you doing, my man? How did the exams go?
How we doing? Good to be back. Talking about the rugby annoying people. It's my favourite thing.
Yeah, well, I guess you can't really annoy any people now because they'll be supporting the same team as you. Usually they just see as like the obnoxious twat going against everyone, but now you can't.
I've got three of them on my side, yeah. Bit better.
Yeah, fair enough. Jimmy, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Glad that there's Lions on. A bit annoyed the club rugby's gone, but Lions is always good, at least.
Well, you can't be too annoyed. I mean, your team did win the URC, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to keep
better
watching
than
them,
the
though.
season.
Yeah, it was good end of the season, at least.
Yeah, you guys utterly dominated the URC season, but we're not going to talk about that. We obviously have the British and Irish Lions tour. So people, if you do like your British and Irish Lions, you're just going to follow this journey along with us. You are more than welcome. Please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. We're just fans talking about the game. No real analytical stuff going into it. Just a bit of shit talking, if you could say it like that. But anyway, let's speak about the game that obviously just passed and then kind of look forward to what this series has in for us. What's your thoughts initially, Tiernan, when you think back about the game against Argentina? We'll speak about the loss in a second. What was your expectation going in? Did you think this is a must-win game, or did you kind of say, okay, well, they've only been together for 2 weeks. There hasn't really been a lot of Irish guys involved. Let's say Leinster guys involved or Bath players involved. Do you kind of say, okay, well, it's fine that we lost, or should the expectation still have been we should have won that one?
I was expecting the Lions to play how they played, a bit rusty, lacking cohesion, but I didn't expect the Argentinian performance that they brought. Like, they were clinical.
Okay, so you're giving more of the credit to Argentina.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more Argentina just played perfectly. Played in the way that the Lions just couldn't keep up with. And beat them that way. And
Jimmy, are you on the same?
It'd probably be similar enough. I predicted, I think it was Lions by 2 points, but I was more worried on which Argentina team we'd see, because usually Argentina, I know they can be absolutely amazing on their day. They have earned that fifth in the world ranking, but some days they can not really show up, and I was kind of wondering will they show up today? But the Lions, yeah, we did expect them to be rusty, but I do think there was a lot of poor passes, and especially there was some nice plays at times from the Lions, but then they go and they were just trying to force offloads that weren't even on. They were trying to force stuff and force passes that weren't even there. They were passing it to the opposition pretty much. But yeah, Argentina, they showed up. They were very good. They showed that they are top side, and yeah, it was a bit of a wake up call, I think, for the Lions, but they did play very well, I thought.
Yeah, Tina, I'm going to disagree just a little bit, right? Because I don't want to take away anything from Argentina. I agree. Argentina were great. They were clinical to an extreme length, right? But the Lions still kind of were expected to win this game. This wasn't an Argentina team that has been playing for years together. This was still their strongest team with 6 major names out, right? They're still youngsters and stuff, but you could see there's a clear difference to the starting lineup and the bench, especially if you take the British and Irish Lions. Now you look at the Lions team, which Genge and Cowan-Dickie plays together internationally. I'm pretty sure Tide Byrne and Mario Torja has played together. Tom Curry, Ben Earl, they've played together. You look at your halfback pairing, they play together. The only real pairing that stands out that hasn't played together was Bundiaki and Tuipulotu. Everyone could see there was a lack of chemistry going on there, right? But most of those teams still plays together, whether it's internationally or at club level. I think the overall expectation should still have been for the Lions to win this game. And yes, Argentina were extremely, extremely clinical in that game. But I'm not going to boil the loss down to structure stuff. As Jimmy just mentioned, wayward passes, everyone just tried to stand out. That's kind of what I took away from it. Too many guys were trying to pull out magic instead of just playing the rugby game. Everyone was trying to stand out. I don't want to repeat myself. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, see, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that as well over the next couple of weeks. Like they're all fighting to be in this test teams, you know. Like they all want to show like the best they can bring, and if that means trying mad passes, trying stuff that might not work, they're probably going to be doing that. But it just got kind of unlucky for them that it didn't go right, and at the same time, they didn't play like a team. It was all this mad stuff. They're trying to make themselves look great individually, and they had that lack of team cohesion that an international side or a club team would have. And that's to be expected, I think, for the next 2 weeks. We're going to be seeing.
Do you reckon
like these.
Farrell will give them a kick up the arse after one of those defeats, or do you think they'll just take it down as we only had 2 weeks together?
Oh yeah, no, he won't be happy with
because
that.
still, as I mentioned, Argentina only had 1 week together from all over the world. They came together with 6 injuries, and they played that game.
Yeah, that was a really must win for them because it's your home game. That's a full Lions crowd, and you don't want to go losing for it. Like that just makes them look bad. Now the media is against the Lions. Everyone's criticizing them. They didn't want that going to Australia, but they have it now.
Yeah, so we saw the proper Messi of rugby that game. Forget about Finn Russell. That was Thomas Albanose all day long. He was absolutely sensational. Is my camera freezing now again? I can see my Wi-Fi just dropped.
No.
That's all good. Okay. Well, anyway, should we talk a bit more about that game? Who was the guys that kind of stood out for you in that performance, that put up their hand to actually say, okay, I want to be in the starting lineup? Because when the Leinster boys come back, you expect a good few of them to be in that squad.
Well, I think Bundyaki, I think out of all the players, I think he quite stood out with that try especially. But apart from that, I think Tommy Freeman in the second half was a bit better, but still, I think compared to the performance itself, like he did stand out a bit more, but it wasn't necessarily an overly great performance from him. Like especially early, in the air, the Lions were well beaten. But I think a lot of the positions are very much still up for grabs. I think that not centre parent, the second row. I think it's probably going to be quite locked down because those two have played together before. But yeah, that is probably most likely going to be the second row. But yeah, I think most of them are up for grabs at the minute.
There's definitely a few players that the opposite stood out, played themselves out the test team. Marcus Smith, he's not a fullback. I don't know what Steve Borthwick and now Andy Farrell seeing him to play him at fullback. The guy's a 10.
I'll excuse it for this one, right? Because there was no Kinghorn, no Hugo Keenan. So I'll excuse it for this one. But that's
the selection doesn't make sense. But now they're back. Now the two of them are back. I never want to see Marcus Smith in the fullback jersey again for this tour.
I think someone that really, really didn't put up there was Ben Hull. I thought he got lost. That game was screaming for a Jack Conan. To be fair, Jack Conan from the start, he is my number 8. I think he's been Ireland's best player this season. I thought he was sensational for Leinster. I thought it was sensational for Ireland. Kind of if the guy above you is Caelan Doris, and you play to the extent where it's like we're not even missing Caelan Doris at the moment. That just tells you the guy has been performing. So that game just screamed like he was there. A guy that really put up his hand, Ellis Genge, in that one jersey. He's going to be fighting it out, obviously, with Andrew Porter. He had a sensational game. He was really, really one that stood out. What were you saying, Tim?
Great line break too.
No, I was agreeing with Ellis Genge. Yeah, he stood out. He stood out.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, there was a couple of guys that I just felt like they got a bit lost in the game. I thought it was a poor game from Alex Mitchell. You know the class that he has. He'll be the second choice guy after Gibson Park because Gibson Park's irreplaceable. But there's a couple of guys that didn't necessarily do themselves any favors that were kind of on the ring of being selected, and it might be a tough ask getting back into it, but overall, I do agree. It's only been a week, so you can't really judge it all on that. But if that's all that you have to judge it on, then you would kind of have to say, okay, well, some of these Leinster guys have to come back. But I saw a tweet today. Do you guys know who Ben Smith is? The guy on Twitter. He usually trolls the Sapphires.
Did you send a screenshot of that tweet?
I did, and I was just going to bring it up again. Because we're all talking about, okay, well, it's the Lions B side. But they had more English in it. and the English placed higher than the Irish in the Six Nations. So that might be a bit of a troll comment, right?
Oh yeah,
It's a
But it's a fact.
everyone knows that Ireland are way better than England. They beat England.
yeah.
Convincingly.
Ireland.
So
Yeah, I think when the bulk of the Irish squad come into the Lions here, I think it's going to be night and day, to be honest, to show who is the best out of the home nations. To be honest, I think since England got that lucky second place finish, the amount of
That's
disrespect and
ridiculous.
overlook that's been given to the Irish players is ridiculous from some pundits. But
Jimmy,
yeah, I do think
you can't say it's a ridiculously lucky second place because you guys didn't pitch up the Six Nations. I
true. That
backed you
is
guys
true.
to
Like
win it.
they're clutching onto it like straws, as if acting like they've won all the Six Nations. Ireland's 2 Six Nations titles, the only team to win a Triple Crown.
I
2
know. I'm
Triple
not
Crowns this
discrediting
Lion
Ireland.
cycle.
I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that
I'm not
don't
going back to the
say
Ireland after this
England
Pacific round.
placed second by luck, right? Because
They did
they
place
still
second
they
by
well, it
luck.
was a bit lucky though, wasn't it?
no
Was.
because they
Because we
beat
dropped
France
off,
and you guys
we
got
dropped a
smacked
couple
by
tries
France.
against them at the end. We let
Jamie
them in
wins against
twice.
France and Scotland, and they got it.
Yeah, fine, fair enough. How did you do against France?
Got absolutely dominated at home and
I
No,
just
fair
guarded
enough.
her. That's what
We're
happened.
not
drank a
gonna.
lot after.
No, we're not gonna
I
go
don't
back
want
to
to
the
talk
Six
about that
Nations.
France game. That's a bad memory.
It's of course just a bit of a piss take. No, the quality of the Irish boys in there will obviously make a difference. I think, especially when it boils down to chemistry. But you don't want to get to that point where the Lions is just like flooded with one or two teams, really, right? Like that's never great to see. But yeah. Anyway, let's look forward for the Lions. Obviously, you've got the Western Force now. You would be expected to beat all the franchise teams, especially with Joe Schmidt announcing that there will be no Wallabies guys playing in the franchise teams. What's your thoughts on just that?
Yeah.
The best players not playing in the franchises before we move on to the actual Wallaby series.
I think that's a terrible idea from Joe Schmidt's part, because you're suddenly going to go into the test matches. None of them have played in weeks. It's a dreadful idea. Like, I think the best thing for Australia would have been to give all their guys a game in this, like, to have them all play for their franchise teams going into the test matches, because now the Lions are going to go into those games warmed up, 6 games under their belts, whereas Australia are going to have none. Unless they're playing anyone. Are they playing anyone before?
No.
I think no, they're one of the like combined teams, don't they?
I have a feeling they're playing one low-level test match
Yeah.
against like Georgia or something. But,
No, I think
they're going to be
I've got a bit
the
of a
Pacifica
different
team, isn't it? They're playing 4.
Could be. I'm not too sure. I can try and check in a second. But I've got a bit of a different stance on it than you, Tiernan. I don't fully disagree with you. I get what you mean. For me, it's like 2 things. They don't want to risk an injury in that game. Let's say Tom Wright plays for the Brumbies. Him and Noel Olosio will most probably be the 10 and 15 of the team. If they get a crunching hit in that British and Irish Lions game, then they're out for the Wallabies series. And you don't want to necessarily risk that, whilst you can also, this is the second point, have them for those full training camps to get the cohesion, get the structure going, if you get what I mean. Because if they stay with those franchises for longer, they're missing out on, let's say, 2, 3, 4 weeks even of training camp exercises and drills and those type of things, which Australia pretty much needs, right? We saw the improvements that they made under Joe Schmidt last season. So to get that team back, get them flowing, obviously they've got a couple of guys from abroad bringing them back, those type of things. I think it will be a lot better for them to go into the training camps rather than actually playing for their franchises, just for that chemistry. Remember, these guys, they won't be out of it, right? They've just had a full Super Rugby season, so they kind of need a week, 2, 3 weeks of break where they're just in the training camp, getting that intensity going again, getting their energy back, and then they can go full steam ahead with the British and Irish Lions. Because remember, after that, they've got a full rugby championship as well that they have to take on. So that's just pretty much my stance on it. I think it's a good move for the Wallabies to be in their training camp, and it also gives opportunity to other guys that, let's say, they're on the fringes of their franchise teams to actually also have a game against the British and Irish Lions, have a kind of final shout for maybe getting into that position to get called up into the squad for the rugby championship again. So with me saying that, Jimmy, which side are you more leaning towards? Do you think it's a good move that they pulled them, or do you think that they should have had that extra time with the franchises for, let's say, game fitness? Because that's obviously what Tiernan's referencing.
Yeah, I'm probably leaning towards you more so, but that being said, though, like we have seen the franchise teams go in the past and beat the Lions at times. But yeah, like we've seen with the Lions, lads coming into the camp at different times. Look what happened against Argentina when they didn't have everyone available. But yeah, like I think when they can get a bit of cohesion together, they can spend time in camp together. They'll be ready and they'll be able to watch the Lions play every week. They'll be able to analyze them, see how they're going, and they'll be ready for for the test. So it would be probably better than lads coming into the camp at different times because let's say like a group of the lads are playing one week, then the others are playing next, and then they're coming in a camp at different times and they won't have enough time together. So yeah, I'd say it probably is a bit better.
Yeah, fair enough. I want to ask you guys a question, and it's kind of on what happened this weekend with the Argentina game. Tienan, would you like to see the refereeing being like it was in that Argentina game? Because I really enjoyed the fact that the ref told the TMO to get off certain things, telling him, okay, that's just a rugby collision. Those, you're gonna have massive hits on it, right? There was obviously at the end a couple of missed calls where I really thought they should have looked at that hit on Tide Furlong. But overall, seeing rugby collisions, knowing it's a massive occasion, you don't really want a lot of players being sent off. I know there's rules and regulations. I fully get that. But I thought it was refed really, really well, where it was like, that guy's not going to be able to get out of the way. Where at other games, you would have been seeing that guy being sent off, or at least being in the sin bin. But now we see it where it's like, okay, it's a rugby collision. We'll give it a penalty because he should have been lower, but we know, okay, it's human. You're not going to get out of the way. It's so quick. It's all those type of things. Would you like to see that being brought into the British Irish Lions to not take away from the spectacle of the occasion, if I could say it like that?
Well, I was at the game, so I couldn't really hear the TMO and stuff, but I did notice that they were, letting players away with rugby incidents like accidental collision, stuff like that. They've, especially in recent games, not just for the Lions, but in the URC playoffs and other games, they've been a lot more lenient with things that players can't really control, like mid-air collisions and accidental fly knees and stuff. Like these things happen on pitches.
Yeah, you see it a lot of times, right? You see it a lot of the time where a ball runner he ducks his head, he's very low, and then the tackler decides to also go low, and obviously then there's a bit of head contact or whatever. But there's so many mitigating factors. But he obviously has to be sent off or go to the sin bin in regards to the rules and regulations. But I just liked where the TMO decides, not the TMO, the ref decided, okay, common sense prevails. He did all he can. Hits like that is going to take place in rugby. And I really, with something that's only once in every 4 years, you don't want those, I don't want to say silly decisions, but like things that's out of the player's control necessarily to take over and ruin the game. We saw it in the Rugby World Cup final, Sam Cane being sent off, Siya Kolisi getting a yellow card as well for things that aren't necessarily, when you look at it on face value, like a dirty hit. And it took away a bit of the game. That's just my perspective on it. Jimmy, what's your thoughts on that? Would you like to see that in the game, or do you just think rules will just follow that? It's just better for rugby if we just follow it like that.
Well, I think rules are rules. I think there was a few times in the game where I think that the ref did miss a few high hits. I think the Lions were attacking, they were about 1 or 2 meters out, and there was a big hit, like a high tackle, I think, went in and nothing was said about it. Then the ref brought back, whether you think it was or not, but they brought back then for other stuff like that croc roll from Tag Byrne. I thought it was a bit of a half-ass croc roll, though, to be honest. I think it was a bit of, I just think it was quite inconsistent, the refereeing, to be honest, though. I thought it was quite inconsistent.
Jimmy, no, that was a proper croc roll.
I know it was a croc roll, yeah.
Are one thing they'd stick with, yeah.
He was around his neck.
I just think it was inconsistent.
He even fell on the other player's knee. So no, that was.
I just think they need to be a bit more consistent when they're saying, "Oh yeah, we'll just let it flow." But like I think because
that's
like,
not
they
a
were
rugby
calling
incident,
some stuff
right?
back.
Like Tide Byrne could have done a lot better there. That does not count.
That is true. That's fair enough. Yeah. I think that's fair enough, but I'm just saying, yeah, they brought back some stuff, but I just think they need to be consistent. If there is high hits or whatever, I do think they need to check them. They need to bring them back, because like they did with other stuff like that croc rule. So yeah, I just think rules are rules, and they need to stick with it,
Your
whether it's a
consistency
big
will obviously
occasion or
be
not.
key. Yeah, consistency will obviously be key when you talk about this. As I just mentioned, that the hit on Tide Furlong, I don't know why that wasn't reviewed. That was straight head on head,
Yeah,
full speed. I thought they're going to review it, and that's going to be a raid. That's
yeah,
how bad it
that's
was.
it. That's card territory, and nothing was said about it. Like I was like, are they not going to check this here? But the ref just kept playing on. It was a
Yeah,
really strange one, I thought.
yeah. So very up and down game in terms of how the game was refed. I was really a fan of it in the first half, and then in the second half, I was like, well, this is
Yeah,
not
some of
working
this
out
stuff's
there.
gone a bit too far.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, I think, refereeing
Yeah.
like that.
Let's actually get to the important discussion. Tiernan, your thoughts on the Wallabies games? I know this is a massive preview now. What's just your preview score of it? Do you think does the Argentina game play any effect on what you think could happen in this series, or do you think everything just fixes itself? The chemistry figures itself out, the structure, and then in the end you can beat the Wallabies. And are you thinking 3-0, 2-1? What are we going with?
I'm definitely sticking with 3-0, and I'm sticking with 3-0 by at least 10 points each game. Like I
Wow.
know I know, yeah. I just think the difference in quality when this Lions team plays together after a few games, they'll be what, by the time they get to the test match, they're going to have 7 or 8 games under their belts playing together along with training camp. It's going to be a completely different team than we saw on the weekend. And I think the loss to Australia kind of woke them up a bit as well. Not Australia, sorry, Argentina. It definitely woke them up, showed them what their errors are, how they can give away points. And I just think that's going to help them improve so much over the next couple of games. And
But don't
and I
you
think by the
think
time you
the
get to the
Wallabies
test
have been
matches,
prepping? Don't you think the Wallabies have been prepping for so long for this, and they are due something massive? Right, we saw the performances that they put together at the end of last season's the improvements that they made from the rugby championship to the end of the year. Now I know they didn't win all the games necessarily, but if you look at the performances, the way that they structured it, you're putting a big training camp together now. British and Irish Lions at this could for them to win this could be massive for Australian rugby.
yeah.
Don't you think they'll be hungry to pull one out of the bag? I think it's crazy to think that you'll win all of them by more than 10.
I just think I just think the talent difference, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Australia took one game, but I don't think that's like more than one game. I think the Lions will definitely win the series.
Are you going
But
with a 0% chance that Australia actually win the series?
yeah, I just can't see it happening. Look, they struggled. They did. I know people look at that win against England and say, "Oh, they're so much better." Like, no, England played shite that game. There you go. And then again, like they didn't really beat Ireland. In fairness, I'll give it to them. They definitely brought the game to us, but at the same time, Ireland never looked like losing that game. Australia just stuck at it,
We did.
and I don't think so. I don't know. I just think
I
the way they're
I was
playing.
worried.
Well, I don't know. I was confident. I was never in doubt, and I think Scotland and Ireland were a lot better against Australia. And when you combine all those players together, give them some time in camp, the talent on that team is going to be mental. And I think when the first Test match team gets released, all these people are saying that Australia are going to win the series. They'll be quiet very quick because it's going to be a scary looking team.
No, I'm not debating that it's not going to be a scary looking team,
Yeah.
but you just know it's always like this with the British and Irish Lions. They always find a way to
Yeah.
lose a game, and there's always a tight one there at the end as well. So I'm not putting it past the Aussies at all. Like I'm backing the Aussies to get it done just because of vibes, basically. Just the
I'd love
improvements.
a deciding last game. I would love a deciding last game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, right? If buts maybes, but listen, if Australia don't have any injuries, and you look at the squad that they have, that's a very, very, very talented team that they have. And you look at the way that they performed in the Super Rugby. I know Australian team didn't win it, but their performances overall were a lot better. You look at the Force, they had a couple of standout players. The Reds, the Brumbies obviously did sensationally well. At some point, I thought, listen, the Brumbies might actually be in the final with the way that they were playing and those type of things. And Joe Schmidt is a proper coach. And the thing is, Joe Schmidt is obviously the guy that bred Andy Farrell, which obviously plays a role. Like they kind of cut from the same cloth. So surely Joe Schmidt will have enough preparation to know what they could possibly see in that British and Irish Lions team. They'll get their crowd behind them, most certainly. And I wouldn't put it past him at all to pull off a 2-1. I do reckon the Lions will win one, at least. But I'm not going to put it past the Aussies to actually go and do it. Rugby needs a good Australian rugby team. That's my
Definitely,
perspective on it.
definitely.
And how better to get
What's
back
your
on the mat
chance
than
on
beating
a
the
3-0
Lions?
from Australia? Do you think
No,
Australia could 3-0?
No, 0% chance.
Yeah, okay.
It wouldn't be good for rugby if the Lions went 0-3.
Yeah, if either
No,
team won
definitely.
3-0, it wouldn't be great.
Look,
I
I
reckon
love dominant Lions first performance. Australia win the second by a few points, and then like
I can see something playing out like Australia winning 2-1, but both games that they win are close games, and then the one that the Lions win maybe is like a 15-point thrashing.
Yeah.
I just get the feeling something like that could take place.
Yeah, I think it'll be 2-1 to the Lions. I think Australia will win the first test by about 3, maybe 4 points. Lions win the second one by 14, then they'll win the last one by about 5. But I think it's very tough to tell how Australia will be, to be honest, because we haven't seen this team since November. They've had a lot more time, I think, to lock themselves away and prepare for this. Joe Schmidt, he's obviously been in and around the Irish camp for years. He's been in and around Andy Farrell for years. So I think Australia will come out flying in the first test, win that first one, but then the Lions, I think, will get a comfortable enough one in the second and then win third one.
Who's the player that you're most looking forward to seeing perform for the British and Irish Lions? You can both of you guys will probably say an Irish guy, so you can say your Irish guy, but then just overall without saying an Irish guy. Who are you looking forward to most?
We've got an Irish guy, Dan Sheehan. I can't like he's been out. If he only just came back, he's going to be hungry to have some big games. And then non-Irish, Tuipulotu. I want to see how the Australian performs against Wallabies in his Lions tour.
What do you think the centre combination will be?
Probably Tuipulotu Ringrose.
Do you reckon Bundy gets dropped?
I mean, I wouldn't. See, he's a 12. Bundy's a 12, right? You can't really play him in a 13. But if you want to go play Tuipulotu 13, I could see it. Yeah, if he keeps up the form, because like he was sensational against Argentina.
Okay, so you reckon Tuipulotu is like fixed in that centre combination, whether it's 12 or 13?
See, I don't know. See, I definitely would have thought that it would have been 100% Ringrose Tuipulotu. But now that Bundy's performing really well, don't know where you put him in. My thinking's that you can't play Bundy at 13. You can't play Ringrose at 12.
I don't think you can play that combination of Bundy and Tuipulotu. It's too similar.
Yeah.
Like Tuipulotu plays great at 13 when Tom Jordan is on inside centre, and Tuipulotu plays great at inside centre when it's Hugh Jones at outside centre, because they have different games, right? And they can complement each other like that. But Bundy and Tuipulotu both are the ball carriers. So your wings don't really. I mean, your wings hardly saw the ball against Argentina.
And I don't think Tuipulotu's that great either against Argentina. So.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, I thought you said he's not great.
No, he's a great player. He just didn't perform that well. So you never know. We'll see Bundy Ringrose, the Irish pairing.
Yeah,
Scottish will be happy with that.
Jimmy, what's your? Who are you looking forward to seeing?
So looking forward to seeing either I might go for Dan Sheehan, like Kieran said, or either Gary Ringrose as my Irish player, or Gary Ringrose maybe as my Irish player, but as a non-Irish player, probably Tommy Freeman. I think he's been absolutely sensational this year for England and Northampton. He looked a bit better in the second half there against Argentina, though the Lions were well beaten. But yeah, I think he'll come into play in the tests and be a big player for the Lions. So yeah.
Do you know? I reckon might have like an underrated series, and he might get more game time than we actually expect. I'm thinking someone like an Elliot Daly, just coming off the bench, slots into multiple positions. He's not for me like this world beater player. I was so confused when he got brought into the England squad, right? Like I was pretty vocal about that. But for some reason, all the coaches like him. He's got that experience. He slots into any position. and he usually does a bit of a job. Like, I wouldn't start him at all, right? With the other talent that you have. But I just reckon he might have an underrated series where he just gets on and performs. He did it against France. Right? The last guy that I would be expected to score a winning try against France, Elliot Daly.
Speaking about unexpected players, Mac Hansen going down to his home country. What if he does very well against the club sides, gets himself
He
into the
was
test
great
team?
against Argentina. He was
Yeah,
great.
what if he gets himself in that test team and scores a try against his country, his country that he was born in?
I wouldn't put it past him, right? Like, he does enjoy scoring a try. I thought he was the best player on the park when he came on from the bench. Obviously, there's a lot of criticism around his spot. People talking about, let's say, Robbie Henshaw or Darcy Graham or whatever. Right? But I mean, I'm happy for the guy, and if he performs, I want these guys to prove people wrong. Like, that would be great. I just don't see him really play too much. I think the spots are pretty fixed in regards to Tommy Freeman, who's been unstoppable, try scoring machine. You have Duan van der Merwe,
James Lowe.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking it's fixed on Freeman and Lowe. Those are your two wings. So I'm just struggling to see where
maybe
he gets more
in the club games. I think he could do well. Well, yeah, I have a feeling Finlay Bealham will have a great series. Finlay Bealham, I think, will do very well.
Oh, he was good.
Choice, don't think so.
Tiernan, what will you say?
Do you reckon it's going to be Lowe and Freeman?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a Kinghorn 11, Keenan 15, Freeman 14. I'd like that. I think Kinghorn's a better winger than he's a fullback.
Well, it just depends on the game, right? Like, Kinghorn is so good under the eyeball, but I'm like, Freeman's brilliant under the eyeball, James Lowe's brilliant under the eyeball. So you wouldn't necessarily take one of them out to have Kinghorn as the wing under the eyeball. Hugo Keenan's also good under the eyeball, but I think that Keenan and Kinghorn, both of them, they'll just purely play 15. Like, I think every single game, it's just going to be a rotation between those two guys. Because there's no need to be playing Kinghorn at 14. He's a class player. You can play 14. But if you look at the depth that you have on your wings already, I mean, we just mentioned James Lowe, Tommy Freeman. You've still got Duan van der Merwe there. You've still got Mac Hansen there. So what would be your reason to play 3 out of those 4 wingers, not play 3 of those 4 wingers to play Kinghorn at wing, who's actually just a fullback? You guess what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
Whilst you only have 2 fullbacks. Because I don't think we'll see Marcus Smith at 15 again, unless he's player 23, where I would play him actually, and there's an injury to the fullback, and you bring him on, or as a little difference maker or whatever.
Yeah, Marcus Smith is only a 10 to me, to be honest. Yeah, like, I thought he was amazing for England in the autumn, and the drop off that he had when he switched to 15 was massive for me, to be honest.
Tiernan, do you reckon the number 10 jersey is fixed on Finn Russell, or do you think Finn Smith could have a slight opportunity in there?
Finn Smith wasn't great. I don't like Finn Russell. I don't want to see him in the 10 jersey, but I do think it.
Well, a sneaky Marcus Smith at 10, he could do a proper job at 10.
Well, he's good 10. I think, if he's going to play, he's going to be a 10.
He's a brilliant 10. He literally dominated the game a couple of months ago until they got an injury to Furbank and they didn't want to play Stewart, because then Finn Smith only came in. But I still think that Marcus Smith was sensational in that 10 jersey. He was running the show.
Yeah, he's a talented 10. He's just not a good fullback. Yeah, so if they're going to play him 10.
I mean, if you put him at 10, you have Bundy or Tuipolatu, and you have Jameson Gibson Park feeding him, or even Alex Mitchell and stuff. With the talent that you have all over the pitch with the British and Irish Lions, he could just be out there creating stuff out of absolutely nothing. You can tell him, go play your game, we'll feed off you, and he can create some brilliant attacking rugby for you.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just my opinion on it. Was there anything else that you guys kind of wanted to cover before we just wrap it up?
What would your back row be?
Jack Morgan
I
was
got-
was very, very good against
I got
Argentina.
Morgan 6, Van der Fleer 7, Jack Conan 8. I think Tom Curry, I just don't think he was good enough against Argentina. I think, Van der Fleer's clear.
But do you drop him
And
just
Morgan.
based on that one game? Because Tom Curry has been very good. I wouldn't be
It'll take
surprised.
time to
if-
tell.
I just think
to be
Van der Fleer's
honest.
been better though, and that really sealed him in.
Yeah. But I wouldn't drop Van der Fleer. I think my fixed spots are Jack Conan at 8 and Van der Fleer at 7.
Thought there's 6
And then
jerseys.
sorry?
It's the 6 jerseys. Then you think there's debate?
Yeah. And that would be between the likes of Tom Curry and Jack Morgan. Who else? Who else is your options at Lucy?
Um,
I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Ryan Baird call up from an injury.
Would you be surprised if we see a Tide Burn playing in the Lucy's and maybe like a
Yeah,
Did John
Cummins going
McCarthy go
into
into the second row then?
or Cummins?
Yeah.
Am I missing someone? Who's your Lucy's?
So
That was
there's
selected.
James Ryan as
Morgan
well.
Earl. Who?
No, I thought you were talking about second row. Sorry.
No. Ben
So-
Earl,
Let me actually
Jack
see.
Morgan, Tom Curry, Van der Fleer, Conan. Just those 5.
Okay. Yeah, then I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see the likes of a Tide Burn maybe playing a game or two at Lucy, because obviously that gives you a line-out option as well.
Yeah.
So if you bring in Cummins, you've got Itoje, Cummins, and Tide Burn all for the line-outs. Can't Jack Conan also? Isn't he also a jumper?
Yeah.
Jack Conan jumper,
He's
yeah.
a very reliable jumper, actually. Yeah.
You know, and
Surprised you.
when it comes to set piece in the modern game of rugby, set pieces are vital. It's massive.
It's
Scrum,
what make or
line-out.
breaks a lot of teams.
Exactly, because you need a good maul these days. So if you have line-out options where you can jump, you're 5 meters away, you need to get over that try line, but first you need to secure that ball. And you see it so many times. We even saw it over this weekend where you've got a 5 meter line-out and you lose the line-out. That is the most frustrating thing in the world. Our team gets it, they boot it upfield, there you go. Or they even counter-attack from deep. So you got to secure that ball, giving you more line-out options, more jumpers. And the thing is, like, Tide Burn's a big boy. Cummins is a big boy. Adding a couple of big guys in there helps you with the scrum, obviously, because scrums aren't just the props. If you have
No.
big props but a small back row, you're gonna see your own arsehole. It's not gonna be good. You need that power pushing from the back. So yeah, that's kind of an underrated shout if you think about it. But I think there's enough talent to just say either Tom Curry or Jack Morgan. Jack Morgan will probably try and fight it out for the 7 jersey, to be honest, because he plays 7.
I don't know.
I don't
'Cause,
think you're
to
getting
be
Van der
honest,
Fleer.
I think Van der Fleer has been overlooked by a lot of people, like in the media recently. Like, I think you see, even I know he was a bit quiet in the Six Nations, but you see throughout the whole of the Champions Cup, I think he was by far Leinster's best player. I think if
But
Leinster
Jimmy,
got
it's
to the
all
final, he
about
would have been player of the
what's
tournament.
needed.
Yeah,
Tom Curry gives you that. He's a fetcher. You need a fetcher. Josh
Van der Fleer
Fleer,
can do everything though.
no, but he's not
He's
a
not
prime
a great
fetcher.
poacher. He's
He,
not a
he,
great
thing
poacher.
is, so he takes the game by the scruff of the neck, and he will lift everyone up if they're struggling. Really,
No, but you've even seen it with the Springboks. Like, you struggle when you don't have a proper guy that can poach the ball at the breakdown. It's all good to have a
Yeah.
Peter Steff, for instance, there, and a Siakulisi that they put in the hard yards and do the donkey work and those type of things. But that's just making tackles. You need a guy to
but if you have
actually.
Jack Morgan or Tom Curry there as well, then you could have.
Yeah, but that's what are we talking about, right?
Yeah.
Tyke Bird likes to turnover now. He's a good turnover.
Mm.
He's,
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, you're
Mario Torje likes one as well. He's very sneaky. with it.
you're just missing
Yeah.
Dars when it comes to turnovers, to be honest.
yeah.
But
Dar's such a loss. Dar's such a loss.
I
for the
know.
Lions.
he was so good before he got injured as well in that game.
Yeah, but injuries are part of the game, one of those
Yeah.
things.
You
Anyway,
could
we'll
even
wrap
see
it up.
players get called up too.
I don't think we'll see too many players called up.
I don't know.
You've got a big enough squad.
Yeah,
Unless there's like an injury in the Lucy's, then maybe a Ryan Beard comes up. Maybe a Tom Willis comes up, who's been brilliant for for England as well, to be fair. But anyway, people, that wraps it up. Thank you, as always, to Tiernan and Jimmy for joining us. We'll be here every single week, as always, just fans chatting some rugby. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. We do appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Ciao.